We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. If you want to support this college football's Rebel Outpost with a donation to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel, hit that $sign where you make your comment, and I'll get to super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. Woo! Brian Kelly fired as the head coach of the LSU Tigers. It happened last night. I was too busy to do a live show. I would have loved to have done it, but we could not pull it off. But we are going to do the live show right now talking about Brian Kelly and what is up next for the LSU Tigers. Look, we had Brian Kelly at number 6. Once again, a coach gets fired and he was on our hot board. We are undefeated so far this year on that. But I gotta be honest. I was not expecting Brian Kelly to get fired. I was not expecting the LSU Tigers to collapse against the Texas A&M Aggies in the second half. Now, we've talked about it here. we've got a lot of great LSU Tigers in the fan base here at PATC. We got a lot of PATC family members. Lots of them. Lots of LSU Tigers PATC family members. We've had long discussions on this National College Football Live show. Brian Kelly, the LSU Tigers, I don't know what happened, but they offensively, the last year and a half, basically zero offensive physicality. They went soft. And I don't know why it happened. The LSU Tigers, people in our family here at PATC can explain maybe why, but again, another head coach, let's be honest, just like James Franklin, with an incredible coaching record. I mean, guys, I do not particularly like Brian Kelly. I don't get his personality at all, but he screams at people on the sideline constantly, his coaches, his players. I'm not particularly a fan of his style, but my goodness, look at his record. Look what he did at Central Michigan. Improved in 2005, 2006. He gets the nod at Cincinnati. Does a tremendous job at Cincinnati. Notre Dame, he could never elevate Notre Dame to the highest level. I get why Notre Dame finally had to, unload him. I understand it. Even after 11-1 season, 2000, well, they didn't really unload him, but he went to LSU because he wanted to win a national championship. He felt he could do it at Notre Dame. Notre Dame didn't really unload him. And then at LSU, 34-14. Again, not good enough for the LSU Tiger fan base. And I'm not going to sit here and blame the LSU Tiger fan base. I think if Brian Kelly would have stayed for next year or the year after, just my opinion, but I think the program would have gone belly up. A lot of money spent on the buyout. We are going to go through all of that and more. We're going to talk about the LSU Tigers here today on our live show. We're also going to go through quickly the 11 games that we are going to make our picks against the spread in Week 10. Very interesting week indeed. So I can't wait to get to that. But before, let me do such a generous, gracious super chat. Holy smokes. OPD done. Now that Brian Kelly is done, when his buyout is finally settled, a lot of stuff will come to light. Very toxic, allegedly. I think so. I think you are correct, OPD Don. There's a little bit that has already come out, which we are going to go. We're going to go through a little bit today. There's a report out to this morning how cold Brian Kelly was when he first got the job. He would not talk to the coaches that were on the current staff. He just kind of, he is a very unique individual. Grateful Trojan in the chat room says Brian Kelly treated people like trash. I think some people would agree with Grateful Trojan. Rock and Rant says Brian Kelly's not a good person. Good riddance. I do believe that a Brian Kelly is going to get a job. He wants to coach. And I think he's going to get another Power 4 head coaching job. I have laid out the prediction and where I think Brian Kelly is going to end up next. I put it out on X. I'm going to say it right now. This is a PATC prediction of where Brian Kelly ends up next. I think he is going to take a job. He's going to become, Brian Kelly, the new head coach of the Maryland Terrapins. That is my prediction. I think Mike Locksley is going to get let go at the end of the season. And if he does, I think Brian Kelly will be the replacement. Do I have any inside information on that? Absolutely not. None. But I think Brian Kelly is going to get back up north. Maryland, kind of. Think he's going to find himself in the Big Ten. He's going to go to some place that's going to promise him at least a certain level of resources. Somewhere that hasn't won. Somewhere back up in the East Coast area. Cincinnati, Notre Dame, where Brian Kelly has had success. I think the Maryland Terrapins are his next job. But I would agree, Opie. I think there is some stuff that's going to come out. And maybe Brian Kelly is going to be too toxic of a coaching candidate that maybe Maryland will not touch him. That is a possibility. But I do think Brian Kelly, at least his salary, will not be very, very much of a hurdle for like a Maryland program. Because Brian Kelly is going to get paid this buyout. We are going to go through that. It's in the articles that we are going to go through. I think a Maryland can afford a Brian Kelly and a decent coaching staff around Brian Kelly. Anyways, thank you, OPD Don. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for starting us off. I think you are correct. Before we get into all the Brian Kelly stuff, let's do the roll call. Then I've got a choice words for Notre Dame. And I've got some choice words to say to my Southeastern Conference brothers and sisters. All right? I've got to get something off my shoulders here. Something has to be said. From the fat guy of Minnesota to my brothers and sisters in the South, I've got to say something. Steele Austin is in the house. Bruce Harris is here. Jose is here. Sko Ducky. Grateful Trojan. Steele Austin. Don Scruggs. I got words for Mr. Don Scruggs. Richard L., the Colorado Buffalo. Boy, did we take a beating. Well, welcome to the party, Richard L. Welcome to the Golden Gopher Buffalo party of getting a beat down. Bob Swanger is in the house. The Big Lubbock is here. The Big Lubbock got some quarterback issues, possibly. Morton is expected to be back. The Red Baron Morton is expected to be back. Will Hammond out for the year. Minor setback for a major comeback for Will Hammond. Prayers up to Will Hammond. MG Sooner is in the house. Stephen McNeely is here. Bill G is here. Rock and Rant, thanks for coming on in, Rock and Rant. Anthony Carlson. Brian Kelly going to East Lansing. That would be my number 2 prediction. That would be my number 2 prediction of where Brian Kelly goes. I think Maryland is number 1 because I don't think Michigan State... I don't think Brian Kelly quite fits the culture, at least, at East Lansing. I got Maryland as the number one candidate, but Michigan State is in number 2. Daniel Gygax is in the house. Thanks for coming on in, Daniel. Appreciate it. Stephen Vitt is here. Thank you, Mr. Ohio Bobcat, for coming on in. John Famlor is here. I don't think Elko is going anywhere. Do you all think Mike Elko? I don't think Mike Elko is even going to pick up the phone. I don't think Mike Elko is going Why would he go anywhere? Holy smokes. Go Black 45. He banned former players, a lot of whom win championships. You can't build a culture by keeping winners out of the locker room. Thank you, Go Black 45. Thank you for coming on in. Thank you for giving us that information. Very much appreciated. John Grove is in the house. AMAC is here. Lee, go Gators. Caleb Ramirez, Mr. Buckeye. Ryan Willie on Wisconsin, the architect. The Seminole win. Morris Simmons is in the house. Okay, all right. Before we get to the Brian Kelly story, I got a comment to make. I got a couple of comments to make. Off topic. My apologies. Go Black 45. Not a great day. My new job was terminated due to budget cuts. So Brian Kelly and I have something in common. I'm sorry for that, Go Black 45. Minor setback, major comeback, Go Black 45. Prayers up. Sorry to hear that, my man. Joe Cobra Cat, Super Chat. $5 holla. No Floyd needed for the Gophers to squeal like a piggy. Great game, Minnesota. A great game, Greg. Yeah, that was a great game. Fantastic. Minnesota sure has a pretty mouth. Take this Super Chat. Go buy yourself something nice. Thank you so much. I'm going to buy myself a little bit of bacon with that $5 Super Chat because that's the closest thing that I'm going to get to a pig in a very long time from now. My goodness, the Iowa Hawkeyes own my Minnesota Golden Gophers. Okay, I got a couple of things to say. Number one. Oh, I'm going to upset a lot of people here. First, I just want to make a comment about Notre Dame. What is wrong with you? What has happened with Notre Dame? What has happened with their beat writers? And I'm not just talking about the whole Notre Dame. And you know what? I am going to start calling Notre Dame the 17th SEC team. Why not? Now, I don't think Notre Dame is ever going to join the Southeastern Conference. Notre Dame is never, they've got nothing in common with the Southeastern Conference. Their fans they're not in the Southeastern Conference markets, except for maybe Atlanta, but that's it. But Notre Dame is the Southeastern Conference's 17th. They are the honorary team, the honorary university, the honorary program. My God, every single discussion about the Big Ten Southeastern Conference, it doesn't matter if it's big. It doesn't matter if it's a very small little story. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of agreement. Notre Dame comes rushing to the aid of the Southeastern Conference. Every single issue at a university level, every single beat writer, Pete Sampson, All of them. It doesn't even, no matter who, if somebody writes something about the Big Ten, like Gary Wasserman wrote something about how, why, I mean, again, why, it seems like the Southeastern Conference gets the benefit of the doubt over on everything. And the Big Ten, Indiana, and here comes another Notre Dame beat writer saying, no. It's like every little, if anybody, and it rarely happens. It rarely happens that anybody throws an elbow at the Southeastern Conference. Do you know who comes running to the Southeastern Conference aid as fast as they possibly can? The little leprechaun legs go running as fast, and they support the Southeastern Conference. What has happened with Notre Dame? I get that you don't like the Big Ten. That's fine. But you have become the Southeastern Conference lapdogs. I had to get that off my chest. Number two, to the Southeastern Conference brothers and sisters in our PATC family. I've read the comments. I read the comments after the show. My DMs are full of Southeastern Conference. You have put a lot of pressure on your shoulders this year. I normally don't say this. Look, my position is this. I have made it clear. I have said this year after year, even after the last 2 years. The Southeastern Conference is the best, powerful, most valuable football conference in the country. I don't know how many times I have to say that. It is the best, powerful, most valuable football conference in the country. I do believe the gap has closed from the Big Ten and the SEC, but I do believe that in the Southeastern Conference. I predicted Texas to win it this year. Wrong. I predicted Georgia to win it last year. Wrong. This year I've got 4 SEC teams in the playoffs. I've only got 3 in the Big Ten. I don't know how much more love I can give to the Southeastern Conference. I don't know how much more I can give. Over the last month, I've had 2 live shows calling the Big Ten soft. I called the Big Ten soft because they did not go to an automated a requirement of 10 games against Power 4 teams. I called the Big Ten soft because they were unwilling to sign the membership memorandum in the Southeastern Conference was. I have called the Big Ten soft twice in the last month. I do not know how much more love I can give the Southeastern Conference. I'm giving the Southeastern Conference. I'm giving the fan base here in PATC. I'm giving the LSU Tigers, the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Auburn Tigers, all of them. I'm giving you a little bit of a warning. Here. If the Southeastern Conference, once again, the fan base, they are completely I get it. You're proud of your conference. You boast of your conference. Big Ten people do the same thing. Big 12 people think they're just as, I get it. But if the Southeastern Conference does not come out in these playoffs and whoop some tail, and a Southeastern Conference team does not win the national championship, then at some point, you're all going to have to step back and take a look around. Take a look around. Not everything is sunshine. Not everything is bunny rabbits and roses and sunshines in the Southeastern Conference. You put a lot of pressure on yourself because the boasting, this is the South Conference, we deserve to have 7 teams in a 12-team playoff. Nobody does. All of our wins are great. None of our losses are bad. It is so overwhelming. People outside the Southeastern Conference are looking at this like, what in the hell? All I'm saying, I have sat here. 2 years ago, we watched Washington and Michigan. Last year, we watched the Buckeyes defeat Notre Dame. And I have not made the argument that the Big Ten is the best conference in the country. I have given all the roses. I have given all the flowers. I have given all the beer. I have given everything to the Southeastern Conference. I think the gap has closed. But now it is time to put up or shut up. If the Southeastern Conference is exactly what 95% of the Southeastern Conference fans believe it is and tells everybody what it is every single day of the year, it's time to put up or shut up. You know what I have? Do you know what I believe? I believe that if the Ohio State Buckeyes win this year, guess what? I still think the Southeastern Conference is the best, most valuable, powerful football conference in the country. If the Indiana Hoosiers win the national championship this year, I still think the Southeastern Conference is the most powerful, valuable, best football conference in the country. If Oregon wins it, again, same thing. But this ain't about me. This is about you, Southeastern Conference fans. The way you guys talk about your conference, it is put up or shut up. Put up or shut up. You have put so much pressure on your teams. Again, the Big Ten does the same thing, but not to this extent. All right? I just had to get that off my chest. It don't matter, Edward Auburn Tiger. It don't matter. I don't care what you are in non-conference play. I don't care. Do it in the playoffs. You haven't had a Southeastern Conference team make the championship game the last 2 years. If you are what you say you are, Edward the Auburn Tiger, and every other Southeastern Conference, if you are what you say you are, go and win the damn thing again. Look, there's only so much positive. I don't know what more I can say about the SEC that I've already haven't said. But it's never enough. It's never enough. It's never enough. All right. Okay, I got that off my chest. Ryan Willie, Super Chat. We're going to get into the Brian Kelly story here. Brian Kelly fired. $5 holler. Ryan Willie. Colin Cowherd believes that Brian Kelly would fit at Wisconsin. With all due respect, to Colin Cowherd, he should stick to talking about coastal teams, coastal sports, because every time he talks about what's going on here in the Midwest, he's out of his mind. Brian Kelly would get chewed up and spit out at Wisconsin. Sorry. Brian Kelly is not a fit at Wisconsin. There is no way in hell Brian Kelly is a fit at Wisconsin. No. No. Okay, let's get on with it. Thank you, Ryan Willie. Thank you for the $5 holla. I appreciate it very much. Let's get to the big story here. Thank you, Jacoba Cat, Ryan, Willie, OPD, Don. LSU fires Brian Kelly after loss to Texas A&M. Coaching staff standoff. This was last night. Bruce Feldman, Ralph Russo. LSU fired the head coach Brian Kelly on Sunday night, less than 24 hours after the Tigers were embarrassed by Texas A&M in a 49-25 home loss. The announcement came hours after Kelly and athletic director Scott Woodward met and disagreed over the possible coaching staff changes, multiple program sources told The Athletic. And now let's get into what Yahoo said here. Inside story on what really transpired. Brian Kelly's messy firing at LSU, how it all unraveled so quickly in the Baton Rouge. How did Kelly's firing extend to Louisiana governor? Who is footing the bill, the buyout bill? LSU chaotic situation is a product of several problems. Some of the school's most prominent donors, key university board members, and athletic officials, even political figures, met over the course of several hours yesterday, about the issue and are still haggling over the coach's $53 million buyout with his representatives. They haven't reached a resolution. As far as we know, there still is not a resolution, but let us know if there's breaking news. Everybody keep their head on a swivel. It's a whopping figure for a state and school devoid of the resources of, say, Texas or Texas A&M, but it is not an impossible price tag. It's not an impossible price tag. On Sunday evening, sometime just before 7 p.m. Central Time, and after a meeting at the Louisiana Governor Mansion, yes, the governor's mansion, decision makers pulled the plug on the Brian Kelly experiment. If you're wondering why such a decision was made inside the walls of the 25,000 square foot Greek Revival home sitting 3 miles north of LSU campus, well, have we got a story for you. It's the most Louisiana thing ever. As most things go in the South Louisiana, politics is involved. The decision to fire Kelly extended to the state's top elected official, Jeff Landry, a brash first-term Republican who you should know tweeted this, and you all saw the tweet. We put it out on yesterday. More importantly, Landry, the governor, has significant influence over the university's highest decision-making group, the 14-member LSU Board of Supervisors. Landry has appointed 6 of them, and he's due to appoint 4 more next year when their terms expire. Kind of like what's going on at Virginia. The governor appoints the board of visitors at the University of Virginia. Making matters more complicated is the fact that LSU is searching for a permanent university president. The school announced 5 finalists earlier this week, and the decision is expected soon, a move that rests mostly with Landry and the board itself. In the absence of a permanent president, the governor has grabbed authority over key decisions, especially those that cost the price of a small island. It's the most Louisiana thing ever that the governor is directly involved in the decision over a football coach, said one LSU influencer. The most Louisiana thing ever. At the heart of the issue is money, of course. While the buyout figure is lofty, the roughly $53 million owed to Kelly, 90% of his remaining salary, is reduced by his future work in coaching as well as media. No lump sum is required. It can be paid in monthly installments, about $800,000 a month over several years. Kelly has expressed to those at LSU and elsewhere that he wants to coach again. A move that could drastically reduce the buyout or potentially result in a negotiated lump payment, just like the James Franklin situation at Penn State. Given his record, he's likely to find a job if he really wants one. After all, he won at least 9 games in his last 8 full seasons as coach, 5 at Notre Dame. This year at LSU, his 3 losses were to teams ranked number 3, number 7, and number 9. Kelly appeared at the team meeting Sunday, telling the players, "Love y'all, finish the season." Earlier Sunday, LSU officials and donors, as well as Louisiana political figures, considered all of these aspects, weighing the cost of keeping him versus cutting bait. The decision was clear. This wasn't salvageable. It was to the point that one leading LSU figure noted Sunday evening that Kelly couldn't explain why his players were playing harder. "He lost the locker room," said another person. "We are soft," says a third. I agree with that. Either way, the Tigers, now led by interim coach Frank Wilson, are off this coming week before traveling to Alabama for a nationally televised game in which the 3-loss LSU will likely be more than a touchdown underdog to its bitter rival, a program for decades now has crapped on its jambalaya. LSU football is a power unlike anything else in the state. Perhaps the single most influential and powerful entity across the boot of Louisiana. More than the NFL's New Orleans Saints. Yes, and the seafood industry even. The oil rigs too. It's the reason the state's politics and LSU football are tethered to one another, linked forever. Symbiotic organisms coexisting for the good or bad. A relationship that began 100 years ago when former Governor Huey Long, known to lead the LSU band in its march across the field, orchestrated some political maneuvering to help build Tiger Stadium itself. So that is the story behind the scenes that was breaking all day yesterday on a Sunday. My goodness. Creative freedom in his writing this article. That is Ross Dellinger. He likes to get creative. Morris Simmons, Lane Kiffin is going to Florida. Okay, we are going to present the two, we've got the LSU Hotboard 1.0. Hotboard 1.0 for the new head coaching position that is now open. We've got 2 names. 2 names. We are going to deliver them in a moment. Stephen McNeely Freeze is next. I think he is. It's not going to cost Auburn all that much money. We think he is next. That is my prediction. My prediction is Brian Kelly goes to Maryland. Just a prediction, no inside information. 13 of the last 20 champions are the Southeastern Conference. And nobody's arguing against that, especially me. But since the world has changed in college sports, the Southeastern Conference, I said it a million times over, I'll say it again, are the most powerful, best, valuable conference in the country. But the way that the Southeastern Conference fans talk about the conference, the ball is in your court. You've got to have a Southeastern Conference team win it this year. Not sorry, actually. It has become, well, I've already talked about it. I don't want to spend any more time talking about it. We're talking about Brian Kelly. But my goodness, you got to have a Southeastern Conference team win it this year. Don't be surprised by Freeman leaving Notre Dame. Wouldn't that be something? Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Rodney Richborg, if Lane goes to Florida, it would be because that's where he wants to be. It won't be a money issue. D5 Terps, I disagree. He's probably disagreeing with my prediction, which is probably the safe place to be. All right, these are the two names. These are the two names that I've got. Now, again, of course, Lane Kiffin is number one on the hot board. I would say, I agree with Morris Simmons. I would say this. I believe Florida has the edge to get Lane Kiffin. Not much of an edge, but at this point, I think they've got the edge. One of the advantages of getting into the coaching carousel first, which Florida made sure they did, and I think Florida probably fits Lane Kiffin's more than LSU, but then again, LSU would be a fantastic place for Lane Kiffin to go. I happen to think that Florida probably has the edge. That could change. But look at Lane Kiffin's coaching record. Ole Miss, sensational job. Just a fantastic job at Ole Miss. 5-5, 10-3, 8-5, 11-2, 10-3, 7-1. They're going to the playoffs this year. Ole Miss Rebels. Great job at Florida Atlantic. Okay, so that's number one on the list. But number two on the list, and he's number two on a lot of people's lists right now, is John Summerall. Look what he has done at Troy. Look what he has done at Tulane. But really, even more important than that, the reason why we have... we believe that John Summerall would be the number one on the Kentucky Wildcats hot board list. Number one with the bullet. But now that LSU got out in front of Kentucky, LSU is the much bigger, better job. No offense to Kentucky, just the way it is. John Summerall finding success at Tulane in the state of Louisiana. John Summerall has learned the high school coaches, the Oklahoma, Texas, that whole recruiting ground. John Summerall has to be a target for LSU. Gotta be. I think he's got to be somewhere on the list. Right now, we've got him at number two. I would expect other names to join. We're probably going to have another name in a couple of days. I'm assuming here. We don't think we think James Franklin is a candidate at Arkansas. We do not believe Franklin is going to be a candidate at LSU. We've gotten some late word on Arkansas being the big possibility for Franklin. John Summerall, we think he is number two on the hot board list. What do you guys think? Ryan Willie, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it so very much. Pawpaws, I think he meant, I think you're talking about Feinbaum. Lee head will explode after the Big Ten three-peats. And again, I don't even think I would not say it's all that big a deal if the Big Ten does have a third team win it 3 years in a row. But again, I go back to what the Southeastern Conference, it's beat writers, it's national writers, it's fans. I get that you love the Southeastern Conference. I get you're proud. They've been the dominant conference. They're going to continue to be the dominant conference. But the way you guys talk about them, you've only asked for it. If you don't win it this year, there's going to be there's going to be even more. There's going to be a lot of elbows thrown at the SEC. Thank you for the $2 holler, Ryan Willie. I appreciate it. Grayson Ganoush, Terps are just cannon fodder for Indiana and the rest of the Big Ten. Maryland has been losing close games forever in the Big Ten. And they've lost a lot of close games this year. And they've got a very good true freshman quarterback. So that is the reason. That is the reason why that is the reason that many people believe that Loxley will not be let go this year. Because you can't afford to lose Malik Washington. So D5 Terps may be correct on that. Again, per Ross Dellinger's, John Summerall has the pole position for the LSU job. Again, yeah, Indiana's on fire. And I know D5 Terps will agree with me on this. I remember how they used to talk about Indiana when we first opened this YouTube channel. Indiana's horrible. Indiana's never going to be any good. Indiana, the Big Ten should kick the Big Ten should kick Indiana out of the conference. And now Indiana is like, well, besides Indiana, the rest of the Big Ten is not any good. Yeah. You never know, guys. You never know. You never know what the next program is going to take that big leap. LSU fans, Ryan Brooks, Mr. Tiger, would like Joe Brady to come home and repeat the 2019 magic. All right. All right. We did get more news on other what else would happen here. Speaking of offensive coordinators and all that stuff, Pete Thamel, LSU has dismissed offensive coordinator Joe Sloan. The move comes with LSU ranked number 12 on offense in the SEC. He spent 4 years on staff there and oversaw the development of Jaden Daniels while the quarterback coach. Pete Thamel says former Florida State Charlotte offensive coordinator Alex Atkins would take over as the LSU play caller per the school, and I believe that Alex Atkins is the current tight end coach of LSU. If I'm wrong on that, somebody let me know in the chat room. Alex Atkins will now call the plays. Okay, let me see here. Stephen McNeely. Holy smokes, 23 months. Stephen McNeely. My goodness. Wow. The more big brand teams the SEC adds, the lower the odds of any one team winning a national championship. Multiple coaches will be fired every year. The more big brands... Hold on a second. Hold on. Whoops, that is not the music. No, there we go. Yeah. Got a little hiccup there. Okay, thank you, Steve McNeely. You are officially knighted Cloak and Dagger, 23 months. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your generosity. 23 months. Holy smokes. The more big brand teams the SEC adds, the lower the odds of any one, yes, of any one team, of course. Yep. Lower the odds of any one team winning the SEC Conference Championship as well. But it should not lower the odds of any SEC, like all the one of the SEC teams winning the national championship. But it does lower the odd of a particular team, of any one particular team winning the Southeastern Conference Championship. Multiple coaches will be fired every year. Maybe not every year. Last year, hardly anybody got fired. This year is a little bit different. The coaching carousel is absolutely stacked. Arch Manning is in concussion protocol. Yep. Absolutely. We might have to take Kane just to keep him, Lane to keep him from Florida. Rumors are Brian Kelly refused to get rid of Sloan, but would get rid of 3 other coaches. It sounds like he wanted to get rid of the offensive line coach, according to one report I read. The Buffalo Bills owner, thank you, Lee, is trying to push Joe Brady to Penn State. Dante's Inferno Purgatory, they said the same thing about Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech, and look at them now. Absolutely. Indiana's making college football great. It can be done without overspending. What about the UCLA job? Who is on their board? I think Dave Aranda. I think Pat Fitzgerald. I think that's the 2 guys that are on their board. Majority of Big Ten schools play cupcake non-conference games. I don't know about that. Some of them do. Take a look at the Southeastern Conference schedule, non-conference games. Take a look at some of those schedules. 4 of them for years. About Edward the Auburn Tiger, if we win it this year like all the other years, it'll be just another year. Plus, we do not have to count cheating. We do not count Michigan title. Okay, let me check something real quick. I'm just checking something out here. Matthew Caldwell, who came in for a moment in that Texas game, he's going to be starting if Arch Manning cannot go. Matthew Caldwell, the transfer from Troy. All right, guys, I'm going to open up the phone lines. Let me know where you think LSU is going to go next with their head coaching job. Where do you think they are going to go next? The phone lines are open. 763-260-1333, 763-260-1333. We are going to be picking the Penn State-Ohio State game. Buckeyes favored by 20.5. We're going to be doing this Wednesday. West Virginia, Houston. We're going to be picking that game. Vanderbilt, Texas. Again, keep in mind the Texas quarterback situation. Matthew Caldwell will be the quarterback for the Longhorns if Arch Manning cannot go.
Call from
John Grove.
John Grove, thanks for calling, sir. I appreciate it. The floor is yours.
Greg, I promised you I was going to call yesterday. The timing was just not there.
Yeah, I apologize. I had to get off the air. But go ahead, sir.
It's all good. That's water under the bridge. I also sent you an update on perhaps the Oregon State coaching situation as well. If you want to check that out too, I just sent it to your Twitter DMs. It sounds like Ed Orgeron might actually be interested in taking that offer up there in Corvallis. So we'll see what happens over there. I got to send a warning shot to the Evil Badger and Ryan Willie and several of the other Wisconsin fans. Why do you want a head coach that has lost all of his rivalry games? All right, Lance Leopold, with all due respect, is 0-5 against K-State and 0-6 against all of his rivals, including, if you include Missouri as well. The guy just can't win the big games, even with the miraculous turnaround that he's had for his football program. He just can't get over the additional hump. You know what I'm trying to say, Greg?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But I understand Ryan Willie's position because
I understand it too.
Just because what he did at Whitewater is legendary. He is a very good coach. What he has done at Kansas is revived that football program. He may not be the right guy to give him over the next level, but overall, he's done a pretty good job. I also understand your point. You can't win your rivalry games. It kind of gnaws at you. You kind of have doubts about the guy, especially this year when Kansas State. No disrespect, but Kansas State has had their moments of frustrations and not being able to quite get it done, and they go blow the doors off of Kansas. I get it. I get what you're saying. Go ahead, sir.
I mean, this game, this past Saturday, there was a whole load more pressure on Kansas, especially given the last 2 years where Kansas lost by a margin of 4 points or 2 points. They lost by 2 points last year, but it came up very late, and it was in the hands of Jalen Daniels. And I said during the offseason, you got to get rid of Jalen Daniels when you can, because when it comes to these high-stake pressured kind of games, he's not built for it. And we saw it against K-State, but he just wasn't built for it, and things just went kind of pear-shaped. But he does have a Wisconsin tie, so that's still a potential option as well. I never think I wanted to hit on Greg, and then I'll let you go.
You got it.
Because I'm a tad busy. You were harping a little bit on how difficult it was for teams like Oklahoma State and Iowa State, KU, K-State. You were mentioning last night how difficult it is to compete in and out with the Big Ten teams, and you kind of mentioned it in relation to your Golden Gophers. But in contrast, I mean, we've had Oklahoma and Texas for the last few years in Big 12 play. The media, no matter what happens every year, they will always point that Oklahoma and Texas will be the big brands. They will always be the preseason favorites. Oklahoma spent the last 3 or 4 years not winning any conference titles. They were busy losing to K-State the last 3 out of 4 years. Texas Ryan told it very last year. They were struggling, trying to get back into college football relevancy, and everything was just going there. I understand Ohio State and Michigan currently, as far as recency goes, and you could probably throw Indiana up there too, and Oregon. That is a gauntlet, but to say that is impossible, I don't know if you said it wasn't possible, but I was just kind of the vibes I was getting from you last night.
Okay, so it's not impossible, but it is. We're always going to be the underdog.
Yeah,
we're always going to be the underdog, right. And I don't mean any offense by this, but if basically every single Big 12 school that exists right now, if you were in the Big 10, you would be the underdog. You just would be. You're going up against 100 years of, and a lot of, I mean, look, and now that Texas and Oklahoma are in the SEC, they're making even more money because of the media and exposure. So I get it. I understand. And look, I'm not going to completely bury my Gophers. They're having a bad year. They did finish number 10 in the country 6 years ago. So it can be done. Everything has to line up perfectly. They can compete. They could possibly get to the playoffs, but they're having a really bad year. But I guess, John, what I'm trying to say is Minnesota cannot possibly have the same expectations when it comes to evaluating PJ Fleck as the LSU Tigers have with their head coach, what Penn State has with their head coach, because PJ Fleck has been the best head coach in 60 years. So you can't just fire the guy because, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's very Matt Campbell-esque in which, like the program was down and out, and then you bring in the main guy, and he's done wonders for the program.
Yeah, you can't fire. Iowa State can't fire Matt Campbell because then the other coaches in the country would be going, why the hell would I want to go there if Campbell got fired for what he's done there? So that look. But I get it, John. I started the program yesterday dumping on my football team harshly because they deserved it. So I get why other people jumped on as well. So I get it.
Yeah. I also noticed, and perhaps this might be a trend, but except for Ohio State and Michigan, I do notice a trend where the patience down in the South, throwing the championship talks off to the side, but it seems as if even with the coaching and the amount of time that you spend over there, it just seems so short-sighted, and the patience is just lacking there, whereas you got some schools in the North, except maybe Penn State and Ohio State, several schools in the exception, but you got some blue-collar schools that are just given a lot of time. And I look at Cincinnati and what Scott Satterfield has done, not just with this year, but even the past years where they were just reeling. It looked as if he was on the hot seat. Kudos to their AD and several people for keeping the trust there, and it looks like the success is working for Cincinnati. So that's another observation. One more thing now that I'm thinking about it. How would Brian Kelly fit at Boston College? I don't know if they would fire their coach, but it seems pretty. It seems. I don't think Brian
Kelly would take it.
Yeah.
I don't think he would take it.
All right. Last thing, KU spent.
All right, man.
Yeah. KU spent $300 million for a stadium and recruiting, and they still can't beat their brothers. How sad that is. Thanks, Greg.
Another shot by John Grove toward his rival, Kansas. Well,
Call from
Rock and Rant.
Rock and Rant, can you just hold on for a moment, please?
Sure can.
I just want to, like the impatience stuff, that's coming from the boosters. More money is being spent on football more than ever, and it's not even close. It's gone up exponentially. The players are getting paid, thank God. You've got the boosters throwing in all this NIL money. You've got all this investment. So now they've got a large voice. The expectations are hiked up everywhere. And then you throw the magical ingredient of you've got an accelerant, you've got gasoline, whatever you want to describe it, of the expanded playoffs. In the world of the expanded playoffs, now if you don't make the playoffs, the 12-team playoffs, then these boosters are like, you got to go. You've got to go. The pressure is even more ramped up for these coaches that have these big war chests. Go ahead, Rock and Rant. The floor is yours.
Well, this season is giving us all the off-season content in 4 weeks of the actual season. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yes.
But I'm glad Brian Kelly's gone. As a non-LSU person, I always like LSU as a school and wide receivers coming out of that program and everything. And Brian Kelly's just trash. So I'm glad that they did what they need to do. We'll get to him again in a second. But a couple of things I just think are wild, right? One is the governor being as involved as reportedly might be.
Yeah.
Is even for the Lane Kiffins in the world, that's a big red flashing light of, do you want to be with that? Like, he should start, now that he's done what he did, he should probably get the hell out of the picture. It is probably not something you really want to be involved for most coaches, including those with egos the size of whatever, to know that the governor might be in your business.
Yeah.
So,
now, how much of that is because they don't have a permanent president right now?
I mean, it's not the first time a university's gone through not having a permanent president when they fired their head coach. Hello, Florida, right? You didn't hear DeSantis really involved. I don't know if they named a permanent one, and I missed that, but I just remembered the whole realignment fund and conversations and how Florida State was getting an indirect hit from what Florida did to their president. And I think that there's still an interim zone, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But there's been interims before. It's not like the first head coach has ever been fired at State University while the president was in flux. It's just dangerous. But also, he could be doing it without necessarily being out on Twitter about it, right? You could have that leadership gap filled by somebody because maybe the interim president doesn't feel empowered to make that decision. I understand that at a state institution that ultimately the dollars go up to the state. I do understand that, but there's probably a better way of doing it. It's just a note of caution. It's still LSU. Even if Michigan opens up or Texas, if the Sark rumors that they disputed actually are true, it's still LSU. It's still going to be at worst one of the top 3 jobs, and most likely is the number 1 job in theory on the board. Sorry, Florida. That's just the fact. So it'll be interesting to sit there, and I think it's easy for people, and it probably is they're going to go to the Lane Kiffins and do the desperate calls to a Saban just to say that they did it. But there was an interesting thing that was on one of the Tigers boards that just happened to be posted on Miami boards. I checked it back of that, and this was not just a poster, but also the writers confirming some of the same things, that LSU will never put itself on the hook for some 10-year deal again. The powers that be are adamant about it. The job is very marketable, but they aren't going to go with a big name Scott Woodward hired and told we want to find somebody energetic and on the way up. So take that with a grain of salt, because it's just message board speculation. But I'll throw out one name that I don't think you did, and Kelvin Shepard, who's the defensive coordinator for the Lions right now, played 8 years in the NFL, and coached a little bit in college, and obviously went to LSU, and supposedly the players just love him. And you could say it's Dan Campbell's system, but the Lions defense is better this year after losing Aaron Glenn, who got the head coaching job at the Jets. So just throwing, if they're going young and energetic with some degree of success as a coach already, granted you have to decide whether LSU, do you want to not go after a proven head coach, but that's not necessarily the automatic. A lot of great coordinators have done great as head coaches in their first job at Power 4, and a lot of great head coaches have washed out at their next job. Hello, Brian Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's pretty interesting to see where this ultimately winds up going.
If you had a guess right now, and we're all guessing, why John Summerall from Tulane, he's got to end up somewhere. I mean, no disrespect to Tulane, an incredible university, but there's going to be a lot of job openings, and he's going to be on a lot of lists. He's probably going to end up somewhere else. Where do you think he's going to end up if you had to take a shot right now?
Well, I think LSU should look at him. The question is, LSU, they hate each other. It's like bad little brother that you don't like syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So does that booster community, does that that fan base accept getting the Tulane head coach to come save them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they
that's
should.
A good point.
They should. and I don't mean to equate it the same way, but if Miami were to hire the FAU coach next, even if he was awesome, people would lose their shit. You know? Sorry, excuse my language.
No, I understand.
Tulane is a better program. I'm not trying to dismiss it. I think he should get hired. I think they should be considering him. I don't know. I defer to the LSU fans in there, but we do know that is the thing, right? That LSU and Tulane, and not like my favorite little brother, but like my despised little brother, seems to be what I've always heard. So I wonder about that. The only thing we know for sure is that Ryan Day and Kirby Smart are super happy because they're about to get a multi-million-dollar raise without doing a damn thing. Because someone's gonna hire Lane Kiffin, whether it's Florida or LSU or Ole Miss re-ups them. He's going to become the highest-paid coach, and then coaches who actually won a national title are going to get a raise above him.
Yes,
that's what. The only thing we know for sure.
And then Ole Miss is going to be looking for a new head coach, and the carousel is gonna go on for a while.
Right, and then the funny part about it would be is that was almost, you could see the backdoor conversations going on with agents and Lane, and if he chooses to leave, watch Ole Miss go get the title, right, and then he'll be leaving place that he already sort of agreed to in passing on the side, because no one's going to really, really wait for the end of the playoffs. Yeah, and I'm not saying that they will win or won't win, but no one's truly going to do that. It's not like those agents are already having those conversations.
Yeah.
But that would just be the most college football thing 2025 of leaving because you think there's a higher ceiling, and then actually you won a national title, but now you're stuck with leaving.
Yeah.
That would sum up everything good and bad about college football at the exact same time.
Yeah. I got a question for you about Miami.
Sure.
This game, I'm not too worried about Miami at SMU. Okay. The line's 10.5, Hurricanes. Malachi Tony, he has become, how do I say this? Every time he's on the football field, he's the best football player on the field.
He's must-watch TV, basically.
Yeah, and he's the best football player. The question is he in his greatness, is he becoming too, is Carson Beck, I got two questions for you. Is Carson Beck becoming too focused on Tony? And in some ways, I don't blame him, because if you get the ball in his hands, he's going to make a play for you. But is he becoming too transfixed on Tony? Is the offense becoming too much Tony? Plus that, I don't know. I got three questions for you. I apologize, Rock and Matt. The more I think, the more questions I have. Number one, is Carson Beck becoming too transfixed on Tony? Question number two, does the Miami Hurricanes have a toss, sweep left, or a toss, sweep right running play in their playbook? Because every running play seems to be a dive play, an off-tackle running, inside handoff. Do they have a toss, sweep left, or a toss, sweep right? And my third question is, how worried are you about that Pittsburgh Panthers game on November 29th? Go ahead, sir.
All right. First thing, I don't think he's become transfixed on Malachi Tony. And I'll give you the specific reason. After this 6-quarter lull of hell that they were in between the Louisville game and the first quarter and a half of the Stanford game, he found Tony Johnson, who's a transfer, 3 times. He found Josh Morgan 4 times. He had, Keelan Marion was targeted a couple of times as well. And even finally, JoJo Trader got a lot of snaps. He didn't find the ball. So I think they were intentionally opening it up.
Okay.
So I think that's being addressed, at least in the Stanford game. We'll see what happens in the next game. The sort of corollary to that is, there's a lot of offensive coordinators that will keep running the same play until you prove you can stop them. So if you can't stop Malachi Tony, keep giving him the ball until you prove you can, stop him. and from being open. So I'm less concerned about that. The second part was I think Miami does have a wide sweep left or right, but it's on the side of a milk carton somewhere. They did run a couple of things like that, and when they do it, they have success. But I jokingly said that I would donate the $1 million I don't have to charity if Dawson ran an outside run.
Yeah.
There were a couple in Stanford game, but they just pound the middle, and it is a boring running game. And I don't know if they're holding some secret, probation kind of plays for a rainy day, but it's an issue to the fan base for sure. Whether they're playing 8D chess down the road, I don't know.
Yeah.
They have the speed. I don't know why they don't do it. They did go away from the screen, which kind of works for that way, wide receiver screen, which could sort of supplement that. But in the last few games, but there were at least signs of that earlier in the season that are essentially the same thing in effect if you execute them correctly, at least for the way the Miami runs them. And the Pitt game, I wasn't afraid about the Pitt game until their freshman quarterback came. I always knew there was going to be one game. I didn't think it was going to be Louisville, to be clear, which was why it was so annoying. I guess no one's going to get out of a 4-pick game no matter what you do, even if 2 of those interceptions were amazing plays. I got to give credit to Louisville on that. But yeah, I mean, it was always going to be one of those games. Now it's like, is it going to be a second of those games for that specific issue? And so we'll see. Yeah, I won't be breathing until that game is over. I think there's still going to be a lot of ACC chaos. I still think Virginia could possibly lose to Duke. I think they should be on upset alert going on the road to Cal this weekend.
Yes.
It's just been one of those kind of things, whether it's Cal or Stanford, ask Miami, ask Florida State, different outcomes, but same kind of situation. I think that could definitely happen. Georgia Tech, I think, is likely to go undefeated in conference and see what happens, but they're still, I think they play Pitt actually, so a game that maybe a few weeks ago people didn't think, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I think there'll still be some more chaos in all those conferences. And then the only other thing I want to comment unrelated to that was just, the SEC thing. I agree. 2 things I think. SEC is great, but you're exhausting everybody, and it continues to happen. And I don't care what metrics people use, to some degree. If you look at all the games this weekend, people get annoyed about the SEC. I ask everyone, what did you watch when it wasn't your team? Right? Like the most compelling games this particular weekend were definitely SEC. Yeah. And I'm not here to be an apologist. I'm here to be like a realist on it. The thing I do have an issue for all of the people, whether it's on the college football playoff committee or AP voters or Heather Dinich and ESPN, is just being intellectually consistent. I don't really have an issue, for example, if Miami dropped in the poll 1 spot this week, because I can make an argument that BYU undefeated deserves to move, even though their strength of record and strength of schedule aren't necessarily as high. But what I have a problem with is Alabama getting a gritty win on the road when they were a double-digit favorite.
Against the scrappy South Carolina team.
Against a scrappy South Carolina team, but Miami was bad.
They would have not written that in any other. It's just.
Well, they didn't. Miami, as an example, and again, I don't really have an issue. This will all work out, but I have an issue with the inconsistency on applying things. Yeah. Is if you looked at the Alabama SC score at halftime or into the fourth quarter with 10 minutes to go, why do you only remember the end, but you don't remember the 35-point blowout of the second half? Same thing if you look at Oregon. Oregon was 30-plus favorites against Wisconsin, right, at home, and they only won by 14, and they didn't move down at all. And it was torrential rain. Well, it was raining in the second half in Miami, too, the whole game when they beat. And you can make an argument, well, Wisconsin's a moderately better team, but are they than Stanford? 2-6 versus 3-5. So my only issue is not, like, if Miami moves down, great, then fine. Oregon should have moved down. Like, I'm not saying 6 spots. A spot, like something that is evenly applied, and that's why I get pissed about the SEC thing, because that's where it doesn't come. Yeah. But it also is the same thing a little bit for the Big Ten.
Yep, I agree.
So it's not about, oh my God, Miami fell from 9 to 10. I really don't care. What I care about is the people behind the votes, and why Why is Heather Dinich talking about the College Football Playoff Committee using strength of record for these SEC teams? Cool, awesome, no problem. But then when strength of record doesn't work for another team, she relies on strength of schedule.
Yeah.
There goes my rant. I'm done.
Yeah, no, I get it. I did it earlier in the show. Thank you, Rock and Rant. I appreciate it.
All right, Greg, be good.
You too, sir. Beautiful.
From
Evo Badger's on the line as he's licking his lips because he knows that the Badgers have a very good chance to get the axe back at the end of the year. But before we go to you, Ryan Willie, can you just hold on for a moment? Ryan Willie?
Yes.
Can you hold on for a moment, please?
Yes.
I appreciate it. Again, the re-elected mayor of Louisville City, the fat guy from Minnesota, once again, Minnesota Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards will miss 2 weeks with a right hamstring strain, sources tell ESPN. The least shocking news, I didn't even do a breaking news thing on that. Because it's not shocking news. Minnesota hamstrings, Darius Taylor, year after year, Anthony Edwards. If there's any possibility of any good things happening in sports, men's sports, in the state of Minnesota, it ain't gonna happen because I am the re-elected mayor of Louisville City. Ryan Willie, the floor is yours.
Hey, Greg, thanks for taking my call. I would like to respond to what John had to say earlier about Leipold.
Yeah.
And, well, the reason why I would prefer Leipold over Fickle right now is that I believe that Leipold was an assistant under Berry before he went to Whitewater and then Buffalo and then Kansas. And Fickle does not know the coaches around the state.
Yeah.
He doesn't know the, how can I put it? He doesn't get how the culture, basically.
He doesn't know the landscape. He does not know the landscape. Yep. And
I believe bringing back Leipold to the state would help with recruiting, keeping the in-state kids in Wisconsin instead of going to the UO Gophers or UO Hawkeyes or Notre Dame or Ohio State. People in Kansas really don't. Well, there are some people that want to keep Leipold and some people that don't want to keep Leipold. But I honestly believe he would give the Badgers the best shot at returning to relevance.
Yeah, I think he'd be a great candidate for the job. Absolutely. And if you remember, we reported here at Peek Around the Corner that Leipold's youngest child just left high school. Very good high school quarterback. I don't know where he went. So people in the industry, people that chatter behind the curtain, believe that Lance Leipold, if he was going to leave Kansas, it would be basically last year or this year, this offseason. So we'll see what happens.
And I was asking Moon and Rock last night if they believe because of Brian Kelly getting fired and potentially a couple more coaches being fired, does that put more pressure on Wisconsin to do something with Fickle?
Maybe not. Maybe it's the reverse because the coaching carousel is going to be too stacked up, and Wisconsin's going to be. If Wisconsin waits next year, they might be one of the better job openings. This year, with these big job, I don't know. It might be the reverse. It might take the pressure off Wisconsin not to fire him. I know that's not what you want to hear, but
what I'm afraid of is next year the stands will be empty.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Wisconsin can accept empty stands for very long.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because you want people to buy your concessions, buy your apparel, come to the game, and that gives the impression that no one cares about the football in the state. It's the only FBS school in Wisconsin. Marquette gave up football back in the 1930s, I believe.
Yep. Yes, it is.
So it's the only option to stay in Wisconsin for high school kids. They're going to go outside of Wisconsin if they want to play football if they say that no one cares. So it's a double-edged sword as far as if they don't get rid of them, then it looks bad. And if they get rid of them, they might not get the coach that they want.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But, all right, well, that's all I had.
You got it, buddy. I appreciate it, Ryan Willie.
All right.
The legendary Ryan Willie. Okay, T-Town Hawk, Super Chat. We got ourselves a Super Chat. Rock, Chalk, Jayhawk.
For Rick?
Rick, can you hold on for a moment, please?
Oh, of course.
I appreciate it. T-Town Hawk, keep your dirty Badger hands out of Lawrence, Kansas. T-Town Hawk does not want Wisconsin to fire Fickle. And take a look at Lance Leipold. Thank you for the $2 holla, T-Town Hawk. I appreciate your generosity. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Before we get to Rick, Fox College Football Bear Bets. His latest odds for who will be the LSU next head coach. Let's take a look at it. Number 1, Lane Kiffin, plus 375. Number 2, Jeff Brom, plus 550. Number 3, Kenny Dillingham, plus 650. So what do you think of the names of Jeff Brom and Kenny Dillingham? Now again, Jeff Brom, he's with his alma mater, Louisville. Kenny Dillingham, he's with his alma mater, Arizona State. So can LSU lure Jeff Brom, Kenny Dillingham away from their home schools? We shall see. We'll see if they even try to do that. Rick, thank you for your phone call. I appreciate your patience. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Greg. You really got my ears perked up with James Franklin to Arkansas.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Yes.
And it reminded me of from whence he came. He was at Vandy before Penn State, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he'd be going back to the SEC. And then I got to thinking, well, if the Lane train rolled into Baton Rouge, that would open up the Ole Miss job. And that's probably a better job than Arkansas. So would James be in consideration for that one?
I think so. Now again, yes, I would think so. Now Arkansas might have a little bit of an edge because obviously they I don't think there's any question that they've at least talked to Franklin's agent, right? They're out ahead of it.
Yep.
But overall, Ole Miss would probably be a high, probably would be more interested. James Franklin would have more interested in that. But then again, I don't know. I do know. No, I guess I don't know. I don't remember. James Franklin. Forget it. I know his wife. When if I recall correctly, Rick, when Penn State had their coaching search, I kind of remember reports that James Franklin's wife, and I'm sure everybody's life partner has great effect on what decision you make. But I did hear that James Franklin's wife had a pretty good part of the decision on where he was going to coach next. So I'm just putting that out there. I don't know. Again, go ahead, sir.
And then that also brings me up with, so I guess we would agree, Ole Miss is a better job than Arkansas.
For now, yes.
For now. And this is, he's now is when he's looking for a job. And then the other one is Auburn. Do you think Auburn is a better job than Arkansas?
As of right now, yes. Yep.
And
I think Auburn can be considered a better job than Ole Miss.
And do you think
Not
Auburn?
Right now it isn't, but go ahead.
Do you think Auburn's in the market for a new head coach?
Not now. I think there will be very soon.
You don't think they'd pull the trigger early to get Franklin?
Maybe they will, but I think I'm not trying to be naive to the point where Auburn hasn't at least made a couple of phone calls. But until you fire your head coach, I don't think you're really in the game, because I think other coaches. I think you don't want to have that reputation. That's what I've heard. You really don't open the doors for talks with agents until you've officially fired your coach.
No, I didn't mean the school officially doing it. I meant the boosters.
Yeah.
Auburn boosters play a big role in who their next head coach will be. And if he's available and Auburn's in competition with Arkansas, I'm thinking I don't know which job I'd take. I think I'd take Auburn before I'd take Arkansas. What are you?
I think so. With everything else being even, yes. But again, what if Arkansas offers more? All that stuff. So.
Right, but he's totally out of consideration for Florida.
Who? Franklin? No, I don't think he's out of consideration. No, I just think Lane Kiffin. I think that's going to be his spot. He was our number one on the Gators hot board right when they fired Billy Napier, the day of.
Well, if that's the case, would LSU consider Franklin?
I'm sure they would, and I'm sure LSU is not listening to the fat guy Minnesota, and I'm sure they're considering Lane Kiffin. Right?
But would they consider But would they consider Franklin?
I think so. I think so. But I don't quite think, for whatever reason, I don't think that's going to happen.
I think it's a good time to be Franklin's agent.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the call.
You got it, buddy. Appreciate it.
Call from
Anthony Montano.
Anthony, can you hold on for a moment, please?
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate it. I'm just looking at this Hurricane Melissa. Hurricane Melissa has just broken an all-time world record for the driest eye, with it being valued at minus 4.75 degrees Celsius. Also, the water vapor temperature has further risen to a remarkable minus 4.75. To my knowledge, this is the warmest value recorded by geostationary satellites in the eye of a TC. That hurricane is barreling in on Jamaica, so all prayers out to Jamaica, the people. Holy smokes. Go ahead, Anthony. The floor is yours.
Hi, Greg. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I was talking to a friend of mine who grew up an LSU fan that went to high school with me, actually, here in Florida. And he was saying, to be honest, because he's originally from Louisiana, he himself wants LSU to hire a coach. He wants to stay as far away from Lane Kiffin as possible. He wants a coach sort of like a Mario kind of, where Mario rebuilt the relationships with all the local high school coaches and the recruiting base in South Florida. Because I was reading reports, actually, I follow recruiting and stuff like that, and a lot of the big recruiters saying Brian Kelly alienated half of the big schools in Louisiana for high school football and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like, because he was focusing out of state most of the time. He wasn't even recruiting the local kids consistently and stuff like that. So he says he would want a guy from Tulane or something like that, or one of the coaches, like, who knows how to recruit the state of Louisiana, like a local college coach or a guy in another that's from Louisiana that knows how to recruit the state of Louisiana and Texas, because that's, to me, he says that's one of his biggest criteria. He wants a coach that knows how to recruit to both of those states, because that's where LSU gets most of their talent from, Louisiana and Texas.
Yep.
And stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So how about Jeff Traylor? What are your opinions?
Go ahead.
What are your opinions on Jeff Traylor for LSU?
Well, he knows the Texas area, doesn't he? So, and all the reports about Traylor is that he's got a lot of respect from the high school coaches in the state of Texas.
Is there any good coaches like that are from Louisiana? I said in the chat, how about Shannon Dawson? He's from like Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, like around that area and stuff like that. And he has connections with the high school coaches in Louisiana, in Texas, because he coached at I think it was Houston before he came to he coached somewhere in one of the big schools in Texas that wasn't Texas or Texas A&M or something like that. Like, I think it was Texas, Houston or SMU or something like that. And that's why I said a guy like that, because he's from the state of Louisiana. He has respect from the coaches in high school
because he knows how to recruit the state and stuff like that. So, are there any coaches like that you feel that are going to be available, or like that are like assistants right now that have great connections in the state of Louisiana that are from the state? You feel?
Yeah, I know that we had Shannon Dawson on our Arkansas hot board list. I think it was number 3 on our hot board, the first one. I see. Here's the thing, though.
Because I think Lane, honestly, I think the job he's waiting to open up, to be honest, is Sarkisian. The reports are saying he might go to the NFL for a head coaching job. I think Lane possibly only leaves Ole Miss for Texas, the Texas job, in my honest opinion. Like, I don't think he would, that or Florida, not LSU. I think LSU wants to stay local or hire a coach from one of these big time schools that has like in-state connections, that is from Louisiana, that knows how to recruit the state and stuff like that. So they would maybe go after Shannon Dawson, but that's if they don't get their number one. I like Dawson, but he's basically it would be a downgrade to Lane Kiffin but I can understand why they would do it. Because he's a local guy from that school. He can help rebuild what's it called, connections with the high school coaches and stuff like that. In Louisiana, like what you just said with Jeff Traylor, didn't you say he has great he has supreme relationships with the high school coaches in the state of Texas, around the state and stuff like that? Like great relationships with like.
I don't think Shannon. I don't think LSU is going to hand over their head coaching.
As a placeholder.
Hey, well, hold on, Anthony. You always do this. You got to let me answer the question. Okay, this is my third attempt to try to answer this question on your phone call. Okay, let me try to answer it. You asked me a question. I happen to think that LSU is not going to hand over the head coaching reign to a coordinator. I think they're going to hand it over to a current head coach, one that has overseen at least somewhat of a medium to large FBS football program. I think other programs might hand it over to Shannon Dawson. I don't think LSU will. I think they want to hand it over to a current successful guy who's recruiting as a head coach, who has constructed his coaching staff as a head coach, and who's had a lot of success as a head coach. That's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, sir.
Well, yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but let's be honest. There's not many of those available now. Like that's why.
But LSU's at the top they're the biggest domino here, so they're not going to have to settle. I think Shannon Dawson is somebody who might be of particular interest to some other programs. I just don't think LSU is going to have to do
like
that.
In Arkansas, Virginia Tech, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or NC State, or something, like
possibly.
Small programs like that, not like a big program like Florida or LSU or Texas or something like that. But no, I wasn't using. I was using Shannon Dawson as a example.
Yeah.
Like they need a guy who knows, like who's from that state. Like how about the guy from Tulane? Like I said, the head coach at Tulane and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's what we started our program. John Sumrall is number 2 on a hot board list for LSU. There's this coaching record up on the screen. Yeah, we talked about John Sumrall. Yeah.
How about Jeff Traylor? Would he be good too?
I don't have him on our hot board. I don't know. I think LSU. I'm probably not going to end up putting him on the hot board list.
Yeah, because like I said, I think for me, if Kiffin leaves, in my honest opinion, I think he only leaves. He likes LSU, but I think he would prefer Texas. If Sarkisian leaves to the NFL, like the reports are saying, I think that job is where he runs to, Lane Kiffin, to be honest.
All righty.
Have a good day.
I appreciate the phone call, sir. I want to get just quickly. Larry the GM made his last and final comment in the chat room. I deleted his comment. Larry the GM, if you're still watching this program, you are like the problem. I do not hate the Southeastern Conference. I have said the Southeastern Conference is the most powerful, valuable, best football conference in the country. I predicted your Longhorns to win it this year. I predicted Georgia to win it last year. But Larry the GM, you are like the problem. It's never enough for you. The reason why I blocked you on Twitter, the reason why I blocked you on this channel is because you went after me like a crazy man saying that I am only here to do Big Ten propaganda. That is absolutely nuts. I have bashed the Big Ten twice in the last month. It's never enough for you, Larry the GM. It's like we basically have to get down on our knees and swear to the God Southeastern Conference. You are the problem, Larry. You and a whole lot of other people are the problem. If we're not glorifying the Southeastern Conference every moment behind this microphone, you absolutely went berserk in your comments, in your phone calls, and then you spam my direct messages. I told you to knock it off. You did not knock it off. You just kept doing it and doing it. And I'm not here as a Big Ten propaganda. I'm not even welcome at the corporate office in the Big Ten. And then you come on here after, again, all I do is throw roses at the Southeastern Conference. And then you come on here and, well, you can hate the SEC. I don't hate the SEC. I don't hate the Southeastern Conference. Yeah, congratulations. You have 9 of the top 25 teams. I said you're the best conference. What else do you want, Larry? What else do you want? My God, it is unbelievable. It is like, if we're not here glorifying the Southeastern Conference, every moment people lose their bleep over it. There's something, it is, and Larry, and it's not just Larry the GM. Countless DM messages I receive weekly. It's like, what else do you want? I predicted the Southeastern Conference to have more. I don't know what else you could possibly want from me. So I say, look, if the Southeastern Conference, if a team in the Southeastern Conference doesn't win the national championship this year, I'm going to come on here and still say the Southeastern Conference is the best conference in the country. What else could you possibly want? All I have said is, my God, you better, because of what you guys have said, a lot of you have said over and over and over and over again, you better win it this year. You bet. Well, because what could you possibly say? I'm going to be consistent. But what are you possibly? Are you going to say, well, blah, 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 blah. It's just, it's beyond nuts. I don't hate the Southeastern Conference. I don't hate the Big 12. I don't hate the ACC. I don't hate the Big 10. I love college football. I happen to believe that Texas was going to win it this year. I don't hate your Longhorns, Larry the GM. I predicted your Longhorns to win it. I predicted Georgia to win it last year. I don't know what else I could possibly say or do. But what I'm not going to do here is kind of just go, wow, the Southeastern Conference deserves 8 teams in a 12-team playoffs, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry, not going to do it. Alabama did not deserve to go. That was my opinion. Alabama last year, losing Oklahoma, 24-6, their 3rd loss of the season. I don't think they should have gone to the playoffs. That was my opinion. But again, you send me 12 direct messages saying that I'm pushing Big Ten propaganda, and I told you kindly to stop it, and you kept doing it. And I told you again, please stop it, and you kept doing it. Nah, that's not how it works. You go ahead and make your own YouTube college football YouTube channel, and you glorify the Southeastern Conference in every one of your shows. I'm going to continue to bash in the Big Ten, the Southeastern Conference, the ACC, and the Big 12 when I happen to think they've done something stupid. Or they're saying something stupid. I'm going to bash my Golden Gophers when they play like crap like I did yesterday. I'm not here to glorify absolutely nothing. Ain't going to do it for you, Larry the GM. So yes, you are now hidden, gone, bye-bye, see ya. Sorry, not sorry. Jeez, what a good Lord. Get a life. There's a lot of people with flu guy derangement. And look, I have gotten absolutely I've gotten crushed by Big Ten people over the last month. Okay, that's fine. That's what I'm here for. But then Southeastern, you hate you Big Ten propaganda. I've done 2 live shows absolutely bashing the Big Ten. And it's never enough. It's never enough for many of the Southeastern Conference. Not all of them, obviously. But it's never going to be enough. If I glorify... I don't know what else. I don't know what more positive things I can say about the bleeping conference of the Southeastern Conference. I have said the gap has closed. And just saying that, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. I want to thank everybody for joining us on this most unpopular national college football YouTube channel in the country. And I'm very proud of that, by the way. But if you want to subscribe to the most unpopular national college football YouTube channel in the country, just hit the subscribe button, open up those notifications, and I appreciate you joining us. I really do. I want to thank those who help support this program with a kind, very generous donation. OPD Don, Jacoba Cat, Ryan Willie, Stephen McNeely, Taytown Hawk, and Ryan Willie. I want to thank the great phone calls that we have received today. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, P. Lit, for coming on in. Appreciate it. I can't believe Greg, blah, 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 the SCC. Now, hold on a second here. Don Scruggs, hold on a second. I actually met Charlie Brown. I did. Charles Schultz was a great friend of my father's sisters. Not my father, but my father's sisters. Charles Schultz, who wrote Charlie Brown, the Peanuts, became really good friends with my sisters, my aunts, my father's sisters, really good friend, and her name was Frida. Frida is one of the characters on the Peanuts. She's the one who does the natural curly hair. She goes like this with the hair. She's not a regular character on the Peanuts. She was in some of them. That's Frida. That character was written for Frida, who was the best friends of my aunts, my father's sister. Frida was a dwarf in real life. Very great. She was a great artist. I remember as a child growing up, going to the cabin, going to the lakes at Annandale, Lake Augusta and Lake Clearwater, the two lakes that are connected in Annandale, Minnesota, spending time at the lake with Frida and my father's sisters who owned the cabin. So I met Charlie Brown, died of throat cancer. The person that Charles Schultz wrote the comic for. I don't remember meeting him, but I was told I met him as a baby or a young boy or whatever. Anyways, blah, 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 blah. So the Peanuts do have a connection with the Pflugar family. Loosely. Okay. I watch The Great Pumpkin every year. Peaceful water cooler works in the background. All right, guys. I appreciate it coming on in. Trench Grinch. I love the SCC people who come in. I love it. I love the ACC people. I love the Big 12 people. I even love the Big 10 people. I have even fallen in love with the evil badger Ryan Willie. But again, we might have a difference of opinion. That doesn't mean I intentionally come on here and I'm Mr. Propaganda, like I was accused 12 different times by Larry the GM. When you do that, when you go after my picks against the spread and call me Greg the Cooler, I'm okay with that. When you come after me and say I'm a moron for my picks and who's going to win the conference championships, I'm good with that. If you want to come on here and say, Greg, your information on conference realignment is incorrect, I'm good with that. But when you come on here and you call me a grifter, a character assassination, you call me a propagandist, and you spam my DM board, you spam my DMs, I don't have time for that. I really don't. So you're gone, Lear the Gym. See ya. All right, guys, I want to thank all of you for joining us here at PATC. Until next time, from all of us to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family,